When you make a payment online, you usually rely on one simple belief, that if something goes wrong, you will get your money back. This sense of trust is the foundation of modern digital commerce. People send money to sellers they have never met, buy products they have never seen, and enter their card details on unfamiliar websites because they believe that an invisible system is protecting them. For years, one of those systems became a symbol of trust for millions of people. Its name was PayPal. But there was a truth no one wanted to talk about. The very same system that functioned as a safety mechanism in the right hands could turn into a perfect tool for theft in the wrong ones. This is not the story of a single scammer. This is the story of how a system built with good intentions was slowly exploited, step by step. And the most disturbing part is this. Everything was done in a way that appeared completely legal. The mechanism known as chargeback was designed to protect consumers. If a user did not receive a purchased product, received a defective item, or noticed an unauthorized transaction, they could file a dispute and get their money back. PayPal made this process fast, user-friendly, and accessible. There was no need to fill out complicated forms or deal with banks. A few clicks were enough. At first, this system helped e-commerce explode. People began shopping with the confidence of saying, "My money is safe." Sellers gained more customers. The platform grew. But that growth also introduced an unseen vulnerability. Some people were not using the system. They were studying it. It started with small tests. A product was purchased, received, and then reported as not delivered. The money was refunded. It was tried again using another account. It worked again. Wrong item sent. Another refund. The system protected the user more than the seller, and this was a deliberate design choice. At this stage, everything was still individual. Small abuses, statistical noise for PayPal. But behind the scenes, someone was taking notes. Which claims were processed faster? Which products were reviewed less thoroughly? Which sellers were more vulnerable? That knowledge slowly turned into an advantage, then into a model. This was where the organized structure began. No longer just single accounts, but hundreds, then thousands. These accounts were not opened randomly. Over time, they were made clean. Small purchases were made. Transactions without disputes were completed. Trustworthy profiles were built in the eyes of the system. Because PayPal placed great importance on past behavior, then came the big step. Using these fake but reliable-looking accounts, expensive products began to be purchased. Electronic devices, phones, game consoles, software, digital services. The products were actually delivered. Then, simultaneously, chargeback requests were filed. The same reasons, from different accounts, different countries, different IP addresses. PayPal's algorithms could detect individual fraud attempts, but they struggled to distinguish such a distributed and synchronized structure from normal user behavior, because when viewed individually, every transaction made sense. The most disturbing part was this. In many cases, the network kept the product as well. The scammers got their money back and did not lose the item. These products were later sold on second-hand platforms, converted into cash, and disappeared without a trace. Some subgroups went even further. Fake seller accounts were created. These sellers appeared to sell products to fake buyers within the same network. Then the buyer filed a chargeback, claiming an unauthorized transaction. PayPal withdrew the money from the seller, and the seller was part of the same network. This method allowed money to be pulled directly from the system. This was no longer classic fraud. This was draining the system using its own rules. So why did PayPal not notice? Because the system was designed to defend against individual bad actors, not organized networks. Because for PayPal, user trust was more valuable than anything else. Extremely strict controls and excessive rejections meant losing customers, and that balance worked in favor of the fraudsters. The network was also patient. Millions were not taken overnight. Small amounts, long time periods, different regions were used. That is why the losses never triggered a single major alarm. They dissolved gradually. The breaking point came when sellers who repeatedly lost disputes began reporting the situation. The same seller could prove they were right multiple times and still not receive their money. Banks also started noticing large volumes of chargeback requests coming from similar IP blocks. Eventually, PayPal's internal audit teams became involved. When retrospective analyses were conducted, the picture slowly emerged. The same device, fingerprints, similar behavioral patterns, disputes filed within the same time frames. This was no longer coincidence. Some members of the network were caught, some cooperated, but the case was never presented to the public as one major lawsuit, because such an announcement could have seriously damaged trust in the platform. Many files were quietly closed, settlements were reached, the system was changed from within. Today, the chargeback process on PayPal is much more difficult. Documentation requirements are stricter, seller defenses are stronger, user behavior is monitored more closely. But behind these changes lies a period that no one fully wants to talk about. This story shows how crime has evolved in the digital world. Doors are no longer broken down, weapons are not drawn, rules are learned, systems are patiently studied, and then the system itself becomes the tool of the crime. The most dangerous frauds are not committed by breaking the law, but by moving through it. And sometimes, a mechanism built on trust quietly turns into one of the biggest vulnerabilities in history.